Are you suffering from post-Olympic hockey withdrawal? The PWHPA, in partnership with the Pittsburgh Penguins, are pleased to present Canada versus USA, the rivalry rematch, on March 12th at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh. Tickets are linked on pwhpa.com and Ticketmaster. The game will be available locally on AT&T Pittsburgh and across Canada on Sportsnet 1. Stay tuned for national broadcast details for the USA.
She scores! The Knoxy and Kax Show with Liz Knox and Karell Emard. Let's get it. Go.
Hello, hockey fans. You're tuned in to the Knoxy and Kax Show. I'm Liz Knox. This is Karell Emard. And we have to start off really by apologizing, I guess, because we've been able to keep up with the 2 episodes a week up until this point. But with work, the Ottawa Showcase put on by Sonnet this past weekend, we weren't able to do our Tuesday episode.
Sorry, guys.
That's on us. That's our bad. But we're back. Thank you for your understanding. And we've got an exciting episode for you today. So it feels fitting, Kax, that I would let you introduce our next guest.
Absolutely. So our guest today is one of the fittest people I know, the purest soul and nicest human. She went from being a stud hockey player to a CrossFit game athlete. She changed people's lives for a living. She's a ball of positive energy and makes everyone around her better. And it is with great, great pleasure that I introduce you to a girl I absolutely love and feel lucky to call friend, Emmanuelle Blais. Hi, guys. Hello, Manu. So good to have you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yes.
Yes, thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me to come on.
Joining us from your gym, it looks like.
Yes.
Right from Le Vestiaire, as I see.
Yeah, the first one we opened in Montreal. Yeah, it's quite big, so.
Nice. Back at it in person with your people, right? Done with the Zoom.
It's been a few weeks only, but it's good to be back.
That's awesome. Manu, I'm gonna switch gear and get you to talk a little bit more about your career, a little bit more so on the hockey side, and then we'll go on and talk about different topics in the gym itself. But Manu and I go way back, guys. We actually went to CJEP together and played at Dawson for the Blues. Manu, tell me a little bit more about why Dawson, where it started, and what it did for you to get into your recruiting, level, and how you got recruited by UMD, basically.
Yes. So Karell and I, we played on Team Quebec, and I'm a French Canadian, as you can hear right now. So going to Dawson was like a step between high school for us that I did fully in French and like middle school and everything. So I did my studies in French. My hockey teams, there were some English and English coaches, but yeah, otherwise like fully French. And then Dawson was a good choice to just learn English because I knew I wanted to be, my dream was to play on Team Canada, which is mostly English too. Yep. That's the language we use. And then I wanted to play at university in the States. I knew that too. So just going to Dawson was good for me for hockey. It's the first time I played with girls. I played with boys up until then. So that was fun. Just different, like made some lifelong friends that I still see. I still play with Kax, Betty, a lot of them. And then after it was just preparing me to go to university. Unfortunately, it didn't go as well as I had planned. I got quite hurt and needed a surgery that year, but I could put in a few games and still go to school and learn how to properly write English. I could speak but write it was hard.
she goes, I got quite hurt, and this is how tough Manu is. So that year she actually ripped her abs, right? Yeah. ripped abs. Played hockey.
I've always said I wanted ripped abs, but not like
literally ripped them though. And was still playing. And it's not a little injury. Like that's why you only did 1 year and then went straight up to university, right?
Yeah. So the whole year, it was like basically referred pain in the groin area. And I didn't know what was going on, seeing physios and stuff. And they couldn't figure it out until I met with Dr. Brown. He's a private doctor that did a lot of Montreal Canadiens and just high level athletes. I went in private, saw him. And then in like 5 minutes, he's just laid on his table. He goes, okay, lift your head, lift your feet. And it's like, you have an abdominal tear of about like 5-6 inches long. It's like,
oh my
okay.
God.
Yeah. So I played in the season, but it was quite painful. And then, so when I saw him, it was at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I got my surgery. He said the recovery time would be like 2 to 3 months. I did that in the summer, did my rehab, and then I was at UMD the year after. It was kind of a gamble when I think of it. Like, I think back onto it, I was young. I was 17 and big gamble. I was going to play college, right? I teach right now. I do the préparation physique. So like I'm the trainer of CWHL kids in hockey, and I teach them, and I look at them. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I left home, went 26 hours away to play hockey. I was kind of half back, but then again, it's the best decision I've ever made to go there. So it could have been either or.
Yeah.
It's crazy too, because, I took French until I was in grade 11, and I was not my thing. And that's like us learning, bits of French and phonetics and all that stuff, like all our life. So you learn English in basically 1 year. And I always wish, like, this is a thing that I look back on at, like, as me as a little kid, and I'm like, I should have stayed in French, because whenever we went to these national team camps and like you guys are all there and you're speaking French, I'm just like, oh man, like I just wish I could at least listen to it and understand what was saying. But it's incredible. So when you're learning English, is this just like, are you learning it from like ground zero? Are you learning how to speak it? Are you learning like how do you learn a whole language in basically like a year?
Well, like for me, like I said, like I had kind of an English background in terms of like my parents are totally French. My family is French. I went to school in French, but I live in Montreal basically. So there are a lot of people speak English. So I was around it, and my coaches growing up, like I played let's say AA or AAA. A lot of times, like it was, so I was surrounded by English kids and stuff. But it's totally different to speak English, to understand it, and then to write it and have good grades and understand what the teachers say and all that stuff. So I think the writing part was the hardest. So that's where like it's just fragments, like we reverse things and all of that. So my year at Dawson, it was helpful for that. And then I would say the first year at UMD, where technically I should have been a second year at Dawson, that's where also I learned like to kind of make my way through and get the writing down.
Yeah, because you're surrounded. Papers. Yeah, exactly. And you're surrounded by only English. So I'm guessing in Minnesota. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have to use it. You have to like speak it. So it's just it kind of, not that it comes naturally, but you don't have any other choice. Like you had a choice not to learn French because you didn't need to use it. That's not the only thing you could speak. So
right, you're in a sink or swim kind of position, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so you're at UMD. You guys had a very successful program. You were there from 2006 to 2010, and you were also with the under-22 team at this time. So talk us through maybe a little bit of like your time at UMD, your coaching, your role models, who you had there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was fortunate when I came in. There was a few French Canadians that I knew back from the Team Canada program, and then Coach Miller was in charge. She's the one that recruited me, and she stayed my whole 4 years. So I'm lucky with that. I think it's the best coach I've ever had in my life. Like, really made a difference in my hockey career, but also in like my personal life. She's just a great model, and just so much confidence in a position of a woman in power where there's really none usually, or there wasn't at the time. So yeah, she was there because she qualified and she made as much money as the men's team. So that was good. So I had Coach Miller and then Karell Ouellette and Julie Chu, who were just both amazing hockey players. Karell, she's kind of my idol from when I was a kid. I grew up looking after her. So Karell, Julie Chu, and Coach Miller first year, and then my second year also. So that was great. I went from being a kid to kind of, or I thought being an adult, which I was not quite there yet. And then in the span of my 4 years, we won in 2008 the whole thing, and then we won in 2010 my last year. So that was a lot of fun, definitely.
You had a sick roster as well too, right? So you had like Erwin at the time, Friesen. You had like a lot of players from overseas as well too. So good mix.
A lot of Olympians, and I think that's one of the biggest gifts from UND. Like I got to meet people from like Iya from Russia. My roommate was Kim Martin. She was just out of silver medal at the Olympics against Canada when we walked in, and then I had like the star and studs from Sweden, Finland. It was just a good experience as a whole to, I would say, accept other people, accept other culture, and just make friends with
someone. Just dropped a barbell.
Weights, big weights. If I showed you the bar, it's like fully loaded. So just it was a good time to learn how to be more accepting, I would say.
Nice. That's a good way. That's something that not everyone is getting out of their college career, I guess. Like even at St. Lawrence, like it was a lot of Canadians and American only. Now more and more players are coming from overseas, and we see it more and more from like Switzerland, the Finnish, and UMD was always known, and the Gophers, I'd say they were always known to bring in players from overseas. So we want that to happen and to grow the game. So that was nice. Good for you. I wish I had that added to my experience.
It just makes obviously like the team better because you get like great players from other places that play differently. Like you could tell, I was playing with Fred Finson and Erwin. We were on the same line at Team Canada. We played the same way, like super fast and like just
up
Canadian
and down
hockey. Canadian and American hockey. And then you have Iya that comes in and she just has this sickest set of hands, like the craziest hands I've ever seen on anybody. She can just score goals from anywhere. And then typically like the Euros were more like a bit slower, but so smart and so skilled. So it was just very fun, and that culture of like being accepting, that's something from day one that coach had like established, and that's something that my partner and I in the gym here, that's why that's what we try to install too when people come in. Like we want anyone from any background that are in sports, not in sports, with problems of weight or anything. Like we want them to come in and feel comfortable. Sometimes it's a bit harder than others, but I think it's the most important thing.
It followed you over.
Yeah, really. Like a bunch of the stuff that was important at UMD and under Coach Miller, we use around. Yeah,
I like
it's
everyday life.
Funny because we'll jump over to CWHL days in a little bit, and then we'll talk about the Montreal-Toronto rivalry because it's still a little bit of a fresh wound for me, but we'll talk about it anyways. But since you're talking about the gym, let's dive into this a little bit because I was looking at kind of your Instagram page, and you guys have the Quebec flag up, you have your Pride flag up, you have the Canadian flag up. It just like, it really gives the vibe. And even just the people that, you're showing images of, your young, old, elite athletes, beginner athletes, all shapes and sizes. So talk a little bit about why it was important for you to create that culture where you could come into this, you guys are like a CrossFit style gym, right? It can be a very intimidating space, but you've seemed to, manage to open it up to so many walks of life. So how did you do that? And why was it important?
I think honestly, still to this day, it's the hardest thing to do because just to start with, people see CrossFit and they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. I could never do that. It's too hard for me. I have to be in shape to even set foot in the place. So that's the first thing we need to deconstruct. It's true that some people that like will have like Olympic athletes, they come in and they just pick it up like that and they get quite good and they compete. Like it's just normal. They have a background, right? And sometimes you'll walk in and you'll get CrossFit Games athlete training right by you in a class, which once you're used to it, once you're used to it, you find it so cool. But the first time you come in, they don't have a shirt and you're just like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Right?
That exact thing happened to me. Like, so I used to train at a CrossFit gym when we were in Markham. And it's called Solid Ground, and it's where Patrick Vellner trains out of.
Oh, there you go.
And I literally went in there like midday because I was like, I'll just sign up. I knew the owner, right? And like I walk in and this guy is like a Greek god. Like his body is just like chiseled. And I'm like, okay, maybe I don't belong here.
He's the second best in the world right now. Like he's top level athlete.
And an incredible human, like don't get me wrong, nice. He's super down to earth. And this is the point, right? Like underneath, these amazing physiques is a lot of people like Manu who are just like super down to earth, want to make a positive impact.
Yeah, I think it's the people competing is like around like 5%, I would say like 5% of our members.
Right.
Most of the members are just people that work 9 to 5. Yeah. Just regular people. They come in, they have an hour in their day between their kids, job, food, grocery shopping, anything, and they just want to be fit, right? So they come in, we try to make them comfortable, have the time of their day. It's 1 hour for fun and meeting other people too. It's a place where, let's say you're 16 people, you get to meet other people from different backgrounds. And honestly, for me, when I started, that was the biggest thing. I met people that I would have never met and that are still friends, like started 10 years ago, people that own restaurants or are super into coffee. And I mean, you don't go into a bar and you're like, oh, this person looks cool, I want to be friends with them. You're already there with your friends, right? So here you just walk in and you meet people that are, I don't know, surgeon or anything.
Cops, really you have all of them. Like I remember going and this is how cool this gym is. Like, I'm pretty sure it was 2 moms. We came in a bit earlier or later, and it was like literally 2 moms that had just had their babies and wanted to get back in shape. And they had built like a little park or like mats were on the ground, everything perfect. The kids, the babies were like there and the moms were training beside it. I'm like, first of all, impressive. Wow, you're already back at it. But too, like the gym is just so accepting of everything and everyone. It just makes you feel so comfortable. And you walk in and Manu is already like high energy. What's up? How's it going? Let's go. Like, da-da-da. Manu, can you give us quickly, like, what's a day like in your life right now? Like, pick one and go with it.
It depends. There's a lot of project going on. So this morning I woke up, I came to a class, and then I was doing, I was paying our employees, so doing accounting. And then I was teaching 2 classes. And then we also have a nonprofit. We just started a nonprofit. So we started that where we make it available. Like, I mean, the gym is in Villeray, but right across from the train track. It's called the Parc Extension, and it's for sure the lowest income neighborhood in the province, but I think maybe also in Canada. Like it's really not, So we started a nonprofit to serve the kids from the area. So we work with, I would say, schools and out of school programs. And then just right now, so we just started our first like real project because we started the nonprofit like 2 years ago, just before COVID, and then it was a mess. So right now there's a group of kids upstairs training with one of our trainers. So went to check up on that, and then I'm with you guys, and then I teach, and then I'm gonna go write program on my computer. Just fun work.
Wow! And she also is the strength conditioning coach for a CJEP team on top of it.
Yeah,
and
that was yesterday.
With the PWHPA as well too. Tuesdays and Thursday practices. And the class that she took this morning is she trained herself. She just went to a class at her own gym. Train. She's amazing.
Crazy. Like so like. I can hardly imagine because I know what it's like. I mean, I used to work in construction. We had long days. So you must meal prep. Like how much sleep are you getting a night? Like how do you sustain this? Because you can do it for a couple of days, but how do you day in, day out make this work for you?
I think the key is just having a routine. So which that was hard during COVID because it was always up and down. We were closed like 4 times and reopened. So it's just, okay, so we at first we lended everything out to the members and then taking it back and then fixing it because some things were broken. So just a whole, like a lot of stress for the past few years, but normally it's fine. Like some days I'll leave home at 5 a.m. and come back at 9, but I try not to do that too often. And then otherwise, I don't meal prep. I buy. Like there's a girl here. She's amazing, and her food is unreal. So I just pay her, and I get the meals here delivered every Monday. It's amazing. I just eat like life-changing.
Encourages her members too. Like what is like non-for-profit? So the gym itself, great environment, helps to go above and beyond just training and changing people's lifestyles. Like, Manu, when in your life did you realize that, one, you knew you wanted to be a CrossFit coach at some point, but two, when you got this opportunity with KK, like, how did that change your life, and what did you want to make out of it? Like, was the non-profit always a goal of yours, type of thing? Giving back?
I think with Karell, it just kind of came naturally. I started working here. He had already established, like, I was not an owner at the beginning. He was probably open. It's going to be 6. So he was open 2 years before I got in and became owner with him. But it really, like, it clicked, and it was just natural. We're the same type of person. We just like to give. We don't like to receive, and we like to make, like, people feel good and feel better. Non-profit, it just also kind of came naturally, because I mean, not everybody can afford. At first we were, well, still to this day probably, but when we opened, we made it as cheap as we could so that people could actually come in. We didn't want, like, the money to be in. I can't come in because $150 or $200 is too expensive. Just 1 second.
Big weights, eh?
She's gonna go tell him this. Hey, stop dropping the weights. Jeez.
Too loud. I love it. We should leave
this. This is the front part where I'm like, oh, I wish I knew what she was saying. Like, did she just say, hey, get your shit together?
No,
she
just said,
could you please? She's too nice. She's too nice.
No, I said it nicely.
The girl you used to see versus Toronto is different than Manu at the gym.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not the same. I'm not the same on the ice. Well,
we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to that after. But yeah, Manu, that gym is you guys are changing people's lives, and I think it's amazing. So props to you guys on that. And we all want to join. Actually, I joined this summer. Manu got us fit again.
Seriously. I wish I was closer, because I think it would be an incredible opportunity to train with you guys.
Yeah, we have two right now, soon 4, but I don't think we're going to come close to Toronto. You still have, like, plenty of nice places to train. But if you're in Montreal, I invite you to come in anytime.
For gym,
I'll take it. I'll take that as an invite, and I'm definitely going to snag one of those hoodies because they're sweet. Okay, Kax kind of alluded to it, and we've talked about it. Let's get to this Montreal versus Toronto. So obviously, for those that were in Ottawa this weekend, great weekend of hockey all around. All but one game was a 1-goal game. 2 games went into overtime. Lots of back and forth hockey, great goaltending, honestly. Like, somebody who got to sit front row, there was a lot of great goaltending.
It's true.
And I wasn't one of them, so I'm not pumping my own tires.
I thought you was. I'm like, damn,
great goaltending warm up.
Actually, no. The one warm up, you guys play a game at the end of it, and I'm going to talk about it. Before the final, I was looking back. I'm like, damn, Knoxy's on fire. They couldn't score.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that was the highlight of my weekend, was my big save in the warm up. But anyways, let's get to this rivalry. Let's go back to CWHL days, because obviously you guys had a great rivalry, I would say, with Toronto and with Markham and Brampton. Talk us through kind of your first couple of years in the league. Now you've done your time at UMD. You're still somewhat in the national team program for a couple of years there, and now you're playing CW. So Kax and I said this before, like, I did not play my best hockey till I was like 3 or 4 years into the CW. Did you find the same thing?
No, for me, it was the opposite.
You're being modest, for sure.
You had a different coach too, right? You had a couple coaches in Montreal.
Well, I played for 10 years, right? So I came in, it was Montreal Stars.
Right.
And then later on, we became the Canadian. But at first, it was Patrick Hankin that was our coach. Really good coach, really fun. With also Phil that was coaching this weekend. Mm-hmm. So started right after UMD, went in, and we were stacked. We had Saint Pierre in net, Ouellet. We had Vaillancourt, like just a bunch of great players.
Augusta was there at the time
Irwin
wasn't
too,
she?
I think.
Irwin, yeah, that was
they all came to Montreal.
Yeah, Augusta, Vinny, yeah, just a fun team. Prevost even played in Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people that came to Montreal.
Yeah. So I saw a lot of people, at least in the 10 years that I was there, like a lot of different players came in from everywhere.
Why is that?
So yeah, that was fun. Won a Clarkson Cup a few times, but yeah, you're right. Goaltending really definitely makes a difference. Like definitely.
Talk a little bit about Sunshine, because this is your goalie for the PWHPA Montreal region, Harvey's. And, I love her because she's even smaller than I am, but she just plays super fast and super calm. Yeah. And typically with smaller goalies, like you get them running around a little bit and, the net kind of just opens up. But I've seen her now. I saw her when you guys were in Nova Scotia, and I've seen her in person now in Toronto. Like, talk a little bit about her. She's played behind a ton of great goaltenders, brand name goaltender, household name goaltenders. Yeah. Talk a little bit about her and kind of her role.
Well, that's the thing. She was on the Canadian, but she was always in the shadow of Charlene Labonté, let's say. And that's the one place I would never play is goalie. Because there's only one technically playing. Like, there's one spot. And then obviously you can be a backup and everything. But I can't imagine how hard it must have been, like, playing behind them. And she was super good in practice, but never really had a chance to play. And that's what I was talking with our coach this weekend, Peter. It's really a question of perception, I think. Like, the coach will recruit people that are like him or her. And then after that, it's like, okay, he's having a really good game. And then he's not, or she is, and she's not. But then you talk to a different coach in the stand, and he's like, wow, man, you had an unbelievable game, and Kax was not that good. Like, it's really perspective. So yeah, I think she never had a chance, and PWHP, like, everybody's gone, right? And it's the Olympic year. So now she's really shining, and she's fast, she's super quick. And even though she's small, she takes up a lot of space. So it's hard to play against her. I would assume so anyways.
Yeah. Can confirm. She played fantastic this weekend. And I guess because you took some time away from the game also.
Yeah, I haven't. Like, this weekend was my first actual real game, like competitive, where I want to win at all costs. Probably the first one in almost 3 or 4 years, Kax?
Yeah. 3 years. Because 18-19 was your last year, I think.
3 years.
And I got to ask because, I was in a similar boat. I came back because they had some goalies take contracts overseas. And I didn't really think I missed it until, like, I was on the ice in warm up in the first game. Yeah. Did you have that moment where you're like, oh shit, yeah, I missed this?
It's funny. It wasn't even on the ice. I just going to the rink and seeing some of, like, my oldest friends. And then also for me this weekend, it was meeting the next generation. And they were just back from the taxi squad on the Olympics. I didn't know that even existed this year, but they came back and they're just amazing girls, like super nice, super nice, and not like super humble, and very, very or anything, no, and very good hockey players, like unreal hockey players. So it's just fun for me to kind of see the next generation come in and take the lead, and then just be with some of my very, very, very good friends. And then of course, after you're in the warm up and you're playing, and you're just like, it's kind of like it comes naturally, I guess. When you've done it for so long. But good thing I try to keep in shape. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble. I'm not gonna lie.
I keep trying to get in shape. Are you kidding me? Look at you. And you're probably the most in shape out of all of us, even if we trained since, like, whatever, we never stopped. But yeah, we had 3 new players this weekend that got added up to our lineup too. And Bourbonnais, O'Neill, and Jesse was part of it and came back with us. And then you guys had one, right? Bach being with
Victoria
Toronto?
Bach came back. Yeah, came back. Same thing on the taxi squad. So it's nice to see those girls like that. They still want to, you know, after the year they've been through, like they were centralized and then they were cut late and then they were told, okay, no, you are going to go to the Olympics, but you can't play unless somebody gets COVID. Like, I mean, any one of us would have said yes to that opportunity. There's no question, but they've really been through the ringer this year. And it's nice that they, you know, are excited about coming back to the PWHPA and playing with you guys and playing with us and just really finding that love of the game again. I think that's kind of what you alluded to there, Manu, is just like, yeah, you love showing up to the rink, seeing your friends, seeing the new kids come in, and it's just good vibes. I do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kax.
I was just going to say, and we all get so excited too. It's so silly. Like Manu shows up in the locker room on Tuesday night and tears are going on. Like everyone's just pumped to see each other. Like, I don't even get it. Like this year is just, I get what you're saying, Manu. And it's true. Like, we're part of the oldest one. I'm happy when you and Ansel are around because I feel young again. And then I feel like I belong and, no, but it's just like, if it's true, you see like even the Dubois, the Labelle, the younger girls that are coming like Isabel, all of those players that will be in the mix that are not on the national level, you get to know them from like under a different perspective. And you know, you're like, okay, let's grab drinks with these girls, or let's like, are we young again? What is this? Should we like,
are they old enough?
Like, pretty much.
We
like,
still feel so
question.
young. Like, yeah, like I feel so young. And then we get a kid on our team, like that's a 97. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to leave. Like, I need to go take an Advil.
Or they say, oh my God, 10 years. I'm like, God, no, what is that? And then you're just like, we meet in the middle. I'm probably mentally, or, you know, as old as a 28 years old, 29. So we're fine. We're good.
It's so funny because I was talking to Kim St-Pierre. She was probably my closest friend when I started playing on the Stars. And she messaged me. She goes, oh, how does it feel like being back on the ice? And how does it feel to play again? I go, oh my God, Kim, I feel exactly the way you felt when I got in. It's like roles or reverse. And she laughed so hard. Yeah, I don't know, but it's fun. It's fun anyways. Because like Kax says, like in my heart, I feel like I'm still like this 16, 20-year-old kid. That's just like, whoa, so happy to play. But yeah, I'm 34 and that's not the case. My body doesn't recover like when I was 20, that's for sure.
But still better than most, I'm sure. So obviously Montreal, Team Harvey's walking away with a big championship win this weekend. I saw Kax had her bottle of bubbly there, the Bottega Gold. Yes. Yeah, there it is. So I want to ask you guys, did you get a chance to actually enjoy the win? What did you guys do after the game? Or were you guys like, oh, let's go home and read a book?
Well, before you go, Manu, we get the cases in the locker room and they're like, okay, you can pop it, but if you pop it, you got to clean the entire place. And we're like, well, damn.
Where maturity sets in.
We're going to cup them a little bit nicer. So there's no champagne shower like we did potentially or compared to like in Calgary. But we did have a lot of fun in the locker room. And then Manu, you can take us through the bus drive home. That was fun too, right?
Yeah, normally I would have been one to go home and read a book.
She would have.
But instead, no, it was super fun. I think it's because they're young, but they had a bunch of shots.
Fireballs.
And and Bottega bottles and just really, really fun. Really, really fun. That was part of the game also, like road trips. We were always on buses, like to go to Toronto, to come back. And even though it was a bit shorter, it was still time to have fun. And then it was Labelle's birthday and Mojelina's birthday that day. So we came home and had dinner. It was amazing.
Yeah, Manu set us up at a great restaurant, Sauté Brothers in Montreal. And yeah, it was, so the festivities started in the locker room, lasted on the bus because we waited, we watched the consolation games actually. And then we left after it. And then, the youngsters, convinced us maybe a little bit to
peer pressure.
Yeah. I think it was my first time being peer pressured.
Sammy, if you're watching, that's peer pressure.
Yeah. Well, the future of Montreal women's hockey is in good hands. Yeah. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that you guys were able to go out and enjoy it. We're going to getting close to wrapping up here, but I did want to talk a little bit about social media. And Manu, somebody in your position, you're owning a gym. A lot of the pressure is on how you look. Just want to get your take on, kind of, I guess, deconstructing all the things that you see, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
I think we really have to be careful, actually. Like, that's the one thing here. We try to make it as real and as truthful as possible. But we also have to remember that most people will just put their good things, good sides, good everything, like reality versus Instagram, always that thing. So just be mindful of that. And then also be mindful of where you get the information. And if you check, like if you double check, especially in the past few years, I think with COVID, it was obviously something that we need to be careful of. And for myself, I just double, triple, quadruple check all my facts. If I read something, I just sometimes might be to take with a grain of salt. Yes. So that's my take for social media, definitely. And we try to be super careful here not to, send the wrong informations or the wrong image and get people like steered in the wrong directions. It's not fun. And then after that, you have to deal with the aftermath, which is even less fun.
Right. And I can only see, I had, I agree. It's more so actually looking at, sources that make sense, that are coming from great places, or you hear or read about both sides of the story before you even put something out there. I think is a big thing that we all need to do better. And I know, Knoxy, you wanted to chat a little bit about, sources and where we're getting some. And right now with the PWHPA, the PHF, and all the stories that are behind the two leagues, the non-two leagues, we're an association. They are a league. There's clarifications that we always make. So it is something we live on the daily. And I can only imagine what you go through with your gym. And again, this weekend, we had a couple other little tweets. I know you wanted to chat about that, Knoxy. So
you guys both hit it. I mean, I think it's, this player movement that we've been a part of since day one has always been important, that it's our voice that kind of takes the lead. And of course, we have trusted people in the media that we speak to, but it's really difficult to see people just kind of grab hold of, their imagination and put this stuff out there for clicks. But I can tell you, here on the Knoxy and Kax show, we're going to give you the facts, when we have them, and it's going to be real, and it's going to be backed with, all the information that everybody wants. So I think you hit the nail on the head there, Manu, just saying, do your research, make sure you're listening to the right voices, and, stay tuned. I think there's lots more to come on that.
That was good. Like, we're kind of like teasing them that we might be announcing a few things coming up in the next few weeks, right? Oh,
maybe if it comes from you guys, it's real. If it comes from somewhere else, I don't know.
I love that. All right, Manu. Well, thank you so much. I feel like I got to get to know you a little bit better, which is, a pleasure for me, and hearing the work you're doing with your not-for-profit and at the gym. Just growing the game and growing the accessibility of healthy lifestyles is something that we all admire. So thank you so much for being on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We didn't get to the donuts and coffees, but we'll get that next time.
Maybe on the next show.
We need all your spots, your favorite spots for sure in Montreal.
We'll have to do part 2. Of course, the PWHPA is in Washington this weekend, hosted by the Washington Capitals. There will be a skills and development session put on by our PWHPA athletes, and lots of exciting hockey to take in. Visit pwhpa.com for all the details. And of course, stay up to date with the official PWHPA announcements through our news and by tuning in here to the Knoxy and Kax show. We'll see you next time.
The Knoxy and Kax show on SDPN, produced in partnership with the PWHPA. Follow Knoxy and Kax on Twitter at 27Knoxy and at Karell Emmanuelle. The views expressed are those of the individuals and are not necessarily those of the PWHPA. Check out sdpn.ca for more Knoxy and Kax and the rest of the SDPN crew. She scored!